What comes to mind when you hear the word Africa? Busy cities, dense forests, heavy traffic, or the familiar sound of Afrobeat? Now, picture an African country made up entirely of islands in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Think of dry, volcanic landscapes, colorful streets, the Portuguese language, and Creole culture. Picture a people whose history connects directly back to West Africa. This is Cape Verde, or Cabo Verde as the locals call it. Before this trip, I realized that most people around me knew very little about Cape Verde. Many couldn't point to it on a map, didn't know where its people came from, or understand why the culture feels both African and European. Ironically, that began to change during the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Cape Verde became one of the tournament's biggest surprise stories. Millions of people who had never heard of the country suddenly found themselves cheering for the Blue Sharks. For many, football became their first introduction to Cabo Verde. But beyond football lies a country with a fascinating history, a unique culture, and stories that deserve just as much attention. In this video, I want to share my first impressions of Cape Verde from a Nigerian perspective. This is a journey through the streets, the people, the islands, the history, and everyday life. Cape Verde is a small island nation located off the west coast of Africa. It sits in the Atlantic Ocean, roughly 600 kilometers away from Senegal and Mauritania. The country comprises 10 volcanic islands: Santiago, São Vicente, Santo Antão, Sal, Boa Vista, Fogo, Mayao, Brava, São Nicolau, and Santa Luzia. Each island possesses a distinct atmosphere. Some are mountainous, some are desert-like, some focus on tourism, and others remain residential. If you are planning a trip to Cape Verde, your entry requirements will depend on your nationality. As a Nigerian and an ECOWAS citizen, I didn't need a visa to visit Cape Verde. That makes it one of the African countries West Africans can travel to without going through a lengthy visa application process. Considering how often we talk about making travel within Africa easier, this was a refreshing experience. That doesn't mean you simply board a flight and arrive. Before traveling, visitors are expected to complete an online pre-arrival registration and pay what's known as the airport security tax through the security's EASE platform. Once that is done, arriving in Cape Verde is fairly straightforward. I landed in Sal, arriving at Amilcar Cabral International Airport, located near the town of Espagos. This is the largest airport in Cabo Verde and serves as a major hub for international tourism. The airport bears the name of Amilcar Cabral, a historic anti-colonial leader who is celebrated as a national hero in both Cabo Verde and Guinea-Bissau. From here, I traveled by ferry to Boa Vista. Even though they belong to the same nation, both islands immediately felt unique. Sal appeared built around tourism, filled with movement, hotels, and international visitors. Boa Vista felt slower, more local, and relaxed. A landscape stood out immediately. The terrain is dry, rocky, windy, and desert-like in certain places. At the same time, the ocean remains a constant presence. Life here feels permanently connected to the sea. To understand Cape Verde, one must understand its origin. These islands were originally uninhabited. Before Portuguese explorers arrived in the mid-15th century, the land was empty. Following Portuguese settlements, the transatlantic slave trade began to shape the islands. Starting from the 1460s, enslaved Africans were brought from West African coasts, particularly from regions around Senegambia and present-day Guinea-Bissau. Due to its strategic position in the Atlantic, Cape Verde became a central transshipment point. Many enslaved people passed through these islands before transport to the Americas, while others remained here. Some worked on sugar and cotton plantations, while others labored in salt mines on islands like Sal and Mayam. Over centuries, African communities and Portuguese settlers mixed, forming modern Cape Verdean society. This blending created a strong Creole identity. Today, many Cape Verdeans are mestizo, meaning mixed heritage. You see this ancestry in the people, the facial features, the skin tones, and the diverse hair textures, from curly hair to coily hair to wavy hair. The country carries visible traces of both West African and European roots. This cultural blending shaped the language as well. While Portuguese remains official, many people speak Crioulo in everyday life. This is a Portuguese-based Creole language heavily influenced by West African languages like Wolof and Mandinka. You can hear how cultures merged over centuries, making Cape Verde a meeting point between Africa, Europe, and the Atlantic world. One of my earliest observations was the calm, friendly nature of the people. Locals greet you, offer help, and share smiles, even across language barriers. While Portuguese and Crioulo are primary, many individuals speak English or French, particularly in tourist areas. Coming from Nigeria, where movement is intense and fast-paced, Cape Verde felt slower and quieter. Movement exists here, yet it feels orderly. A certain calmness fills the atmosphere, even in busy areas. Because the nation depends heavily on migration and tourism, you constantly meet people connected to different parts of the world. Cape Verde possesses a massive diaspora. In fact, a large number of Cape Verdeans live abroad than inside the country itself, bringing global influences into conversations, music, architecture, and fashion. The architecture kept catching my attention. Cape Verde uses color boldly: blue, yellow, pink, green, and purple walls give simple buildings a lively presence. These streets feel cheerful because of these hues, which stand out vividly against the dry landscapes and dusty roads. Some areas feel Mediterranean, some feel Caribbean, and others feel deeply West African. Portuguese influence remains visible in the older buildings, churches, balconies, and street layouts. Over time, Cape Verde shaped these elements into a style that is uniquely its own. Walking through these streets feels like moving through layers of history. In Cape Verde, the ocean is the foundation of daily life. Fishing remains central across many islands. You see fishermen pushing boats into the water, selling fresh catches, and working together along the shoreline. Because these are islands, transit depends on water. During my ferry crossing from Sal to Boa Vista, I felt how connected yet isolated these islands are. The Atlantic Ocean surrounds everything, influencing transportation, trade, food, weather, and survival. Tourism significantly shapes daily life, especially on islands like Sal and Boa Vista, which serve as major destinations. Many products are imported. Prices can feel high. In specific areas, costs align closely with Europe. The local currency is the Cape Verdean escudo, though euros are widely accepted. For visitors from Europe or the United States, Cape Verde can feel affordable. For many locals, however, life can be expensive relative to average wages. Food, transportation, utilities, and imported goods carry extra costs due to island geography. A visible contrast exists, with luxury hotels standing near ordinary neighborhoods. Tourism creates opportunity while changing the economy of the island, particularly in areas catering to foreign visitors. Despite its small geographic size, Cape Verde maintains a powerful cultural identity. Music is deeply rooted in the soil. The country gained global recognition through artists like Cesaria Evora, and music continues to carry memory, history, longing, and daily experiences. Cape Verdean culture feels emotional, warm, and communal. You feel the presence of West Africa, Portugal, and the Atlantic blended into a distinct reality. Cape Verde is gentle and understated, yet the more time you spend here, the more layers you discover. Before my arrival, Cape Verde was simply a name on a map. After walking the streets, crossing the waters, and speaking with the people, the nation revealed a depth that extends far beyond a tourist destination. Cape Verde carries history, migration, survival, and resilience. It is entirely African, defined by its own unique path. It surprises visitors because it expands the definition of what an African nation can be. For me, this trip became an opportunity to understand how history, geography, and the ocean can shape an identity. There's still so much to learn about Cape Verde. If you are enjoying this journey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is only the beginning. There are more stories from Cape Verde ahead.